The journey of a man's heart from initial attraction to a lifelong commitment is rarely a straight line. Rather, it is a complex, internal metamorphosis that often occurs beneath the surface of casual conversation and daily routines. While the early stages of romance are fueled by the exhilarating rush of dopamine and physical chemistry, the transition into wanting a partner for life requires a profound psychological shifts that most men navigate in silence. Understanding these 15 hidden phases provides a roadmap into the male psyche, revealing how a man moves from the excitement of now to the resolute certainty of forever. It is a process of shedding the protective layers of bachelorhood and replacing them with the sturdy architecture of shared future. For many men, the concept of forever is not a decision made in a single cinematic moment of realization. Instead, it is the result of a gradual accumulation of observations, emotional tests, and logical alignments. It begins with the observation of character, where he silently evaluates if a woman's internal values match the external beauty that first caught his eye. As the connection deepens, he moves through various stages of vulnerability and protection, grappling with the biological urge to provide and the psychological need to be understood. This progression is often invisible to the partner because men are socialized to process these heavy, emotional shifts internally before vocalizing them. By the time a man says, "I want to spend my life with you," he has likely already completed a rigorous mental and emotional marathon that confirmed his choice. These phases represent the bridge between dating and destiny. They encompass everything from the linguistic shift of moving from I to we, to the high-stakes fear of lost transition, where he realizes that his life without this specific person would be an unacceptable compromise. It involves the hero instinct, where he finds his greatest purpose in being his partner's most reliable support system. It concludes with absolute emotional surrender, a state of total trust where the ego is set aside in favor of the union. Each phase serves as a necessary foundation for the next, ensuring that when the commitment is finally made, it is built on a bedrock of integrity, compatibility, and deep-seated devotion. By exploring these 15 headings, we peel back the curtain on the male experience of falling in deep, permanent love. Whether you are navigating a new relationship or seeking to understand the man you've been with for years, recognizing these stages allows for a deeper appreciation of the quiet work a man does to prepare his heart for a lifetime of loyalty. It is a testament to the fact that for a man, choosing a life partner is the most significant project he will ever undertake, one that requires his full character, his focused logic, and, eventually, his entire soul. 1. The observation of character. This initial phase is marked by a shift from superficial attraction to a deep, analytical evaluation of who you are at your core. In this stage, a man is no longer just looking at the chemistry or the excitement of the honeymoon phase. Instead, he begins to watch how you interact with the world when you think no one is looking. He is observing your integrity, your kindness toward strangers, and how you handle small inconveniences. This is a silent vetting process where he looks for consistency. He wants to see if your actions align with your words over time. He is essentially building a mental dossier of your character traits to determine if they're compatible with a lifelong partnership. He looks at how you treat your family, your work ethic, and your level of self-respect. During this phase, he might ask deeper questions about your past or your opinions on moral dilemmas. He is looking for a teammate rather than just a romantic partner. If he sees that you possess a strong moral compass and emotional stability, his respect for you deepens significantly. This respect is the foundation upon which the subsequent phases are built. It is a quiet, contemplative period where he decides if the idea of you matches the reality of you. Once he is satisfied that your character is genuine and high value, he feels safe enough to move into the more emotionally risky stages of the relationship. 2. The guarded vulnerability phase. Once a man respects your character, he enters a delicate transition where he tests the waters of emotional transparency. For many men, vulnerability is equated with weakness or a loss of control, so this phase is often characterized by micro-disclosures. He might share a small personal failure, a childhood memory that carries some weight, or a current stressor at work. He is doing this to gauge a reaction. He is looking for empathy without judgment and support without pity. If you provide a safe space for these small revelations, he begins to lower his emotional armor. This is a guarded phase because he still has one foot out the door. If his vulnerability is met with ridicule or dismissal, he will likely retract and emotionally distance himself. However, if he feels heard and understood, he begins to realize that he doesn't have to maintain a perfect facade around you. This realization is incredibly liberating for him and creates a unique bond that he doesn't share with friends or family. He starts to view you as his confidant, the one person who truly gets him. This phase is crucial because it transforms the relationship from social connection into an emotional sanctuary. He is learning that being with you allows him to be his most authentic self, which is a powerful incentive for him to want you in his life permanently. 3. The subconscious inclusion of we. In this phase, the man's internal monologue and outward communication undergo a subtle but profound linguistic shift. He stops referring to his life in the singular and begins to naturally use the word we when discussing future events, weekend plans, or even personal opinions. This isn't usually a conscious decision. Rather, it is a reflection of his subconscious mind integrating you into his identity. He no longer views his life as a solo journey where you are a guest, but as a shared path where you are a permanent fixture. This shift often manifests in casual conversation. He might say, "We should try that new restaurant next month," or "We need to see that movie." This indicates that he is already projecting a future that includes you by default. He begins to consult you on decisions that he used to make alone, from career moves to minor purchases. Your opinion becomes a primary factor in his logic. This phase represents the dissolution of the single mindset. He is mentally building a life that accommodates your presence, your needs, and your preferences. When a man starts using we consistently, it is a sign that he has moved past the trial period and is now operating from a place of partnership. He is no longer looking for the best option. He has decided that the best option is the unit the two of you have formed together. 4. The protective instinct activation. As the bond deepens, a man's biological and psychological drive to protect his partner becomes a dominant force. This isn't just about physical protection. It's about provisional protection. He becomes deeply concerned with your well-being, your safety, and your happiness. You will notice him checking to make sure your car is running well, ensuring you got home safely after a night out, or standing up for you in social situations where you might be treated unfairly. He feels a sense of responsibility for your peace of mind. This phase is often triggered by the hero instinct, a psychological concept where a man feels a deep need to be useful and essential to the woman he loves. He wants to be the person you turn to when things go wrong. If he sees you struggling, his first instinct is to fix the problem or provide a shield against the stressor. This protective nature is a clear sign that he views you as his in a permanent, committed sense. He is investing his energy into making your life easier and safer, because your pain has become his pain. By becoming your protector, he is carving out a specific, irreplaceable role in your life. He wants to know that he provides a value to you that no one else can, and this sense of being needed reinforces his desire to stay with you for life. 5. The long-term logic integration. The 5th phase is where the heart and the head finally align. While the previous phases might have been driven by emotion and instinct, this phase is purely analytical. He begins to look at the practicalities of a lifetime together. He considers financial compatibility, lifestyle goals, and family planning. He asks himself questions like, do our career paths mesh? Do we want the same things in 10 years? And could I navigate a crisis with this person? He is looking for functional harmony. A man who wants you for life needs to know that the relationship can survive the mundane and the difficult parts of reality. During this phase, he might initiate serious conversations about money, children, or where you both want to live. This might seem less romantic than the early stages, but it is actually one of the highest forms of commitment a man can show. He is doing the due diligence required to ensure that a marriage or long-term partnership won't crumble under the weight of real-world pressures. If he determines that your lives are logistically compatible, he moves from the wanting phase to the planning phase. He is no longer just enjoying the present. He is actively constructing a foundation for a shared future. When a man starts applying logic to his love for you, it means he is serious about making that love last forever. 6. The emotional anchor discovery. In this phase, a man realizes that you have become his primary source of stability and peace. Life is inherently chaotic, but he begins to notice that his stress levels drop and his clarity increases simply by being in your presence. You're no longer just a romantic interest. You're the person he seeks out to reset his emotional state after a taxing day. He finds himself sharing his frustrations and triumphs with you before anyone else, because your reaction is the only one that truly matters to him. This is a profound realization for a man because it signifies a shift from independence to healthy interdependence. He recognizes that while he can survive without you, his quality of life and internal world are significantly better with you. He begins to associate your presence with safety and home. This anchoring effect makes the idea of losing you feel like losing a part of his own foundation. He starts to prioritize your presence during his downtime because he needs that emotional replenishment to function at his best in the outside world. 7. The mirroring of core values. Once the emotional connection is anchored, he begins to look for and actively cultivate a deep alignment in fundamental beliefs. He moves beyond surface-level hobbies and starts examining your views on loyalty, work ethic, family, and personal growth. In this phase, he is looking for a soul-level compatibility. He will often subtly adopt or mirror the positive values he sees in you, and he looks for you to do the same with his. He is testing whether you can grow together or if you will eventually grow apart. If he values financial independence and sees that you do too, it reinforces his desire for a lifelong commitment. If he sees that you handle conflict with the same level of respect that he strives for, he feels a sense of relief. This phase is about ensuring that when the feeling of love is tested by the trials of life, the shared mission of the relationship remains intact. He wants to know that you are both rowing the boat in the same direction. 8. The social integration ritual. When a man wants you for life, he stops keeping his social circles separate. He begins the process of social weaving, where he introduces you to the people whose opinions he respects most, his family, his oldest friends, and his mentors. This is more than just a casual introduction. It is a ritual of public declaration. He is observing how you fit into his world and how his world responds to you. He takes pride in showing you off, not as a trophy, but as a significant part of his identity. He wants his inner circle to see what he sees in you. If his mother loves you or his best friend respects you, it validates his internal decision. Furthermore, he begins to attend your social functions with equal enthusiasm. He wants to be known as your partner in every sphere of your life. By merging these worlds, he is making it much harder to untangle your lives later, which is a subconscious way of cementing the permanence of the bond. 9. The fear of lost transition. This is a pivotal, often silent phase where the man fully grasps the magnitude of what he has to lose. Up until this point, the relationship has been a series of positive gains. Now, the psychological weight of a potential life without you enters his mind. This isn't an insecure or clingy fear. It is a high-stakes realization of your value. He recognizes that you are irreplaceable and that his life would be significantly diminished if you were gone. This realization often leads to a surge in commitment. He may become more attentive, more communicative, and more willing to resolve lingering issues. He stops taking your presence for granted and starts actively choosing you every day. This fear of loss acts as a catalyst that pushes him toward formalizing the commitment, whether through marriage, moving in together, or long-term life planning. He wants to lock in the relationship because the alternative, a life without your influence, is no longer acceptable to him. 10. The hero instinct alignment. In this stage, the man seeks to become the version of himself that you deserve. He aligns his personal ambitions with the goal of being your hero not in a cartoonish way, but in a practical, supportive way. He wants to provide for you, whether that's emotionally, financially, or through acts of service. He finds deep satisfaction in knowing that he is your go-to person for everything. He begins to take his health, his career, and his responsibilities more seriously because he views himself as the co-guardian of your shared future. He wants to be the man who can handle whatever life throws at you both. When you express appreciation for his efforts, it triggers a biological reward system that makes him want to do even more. He is no longer just living for himself. He is living to be the man that makes you feel proud, safe, and loved. This alignment is a clear sign that he has transitioned from dating to building a legacy with you. 11. The sacrifice negotiation. This phase involves the man willingly giving up parts of his single identity or personal comforts for the sake of the relationship. It's the transition from what I want to what is best for us. He might pass up a career opportunity in a different city, change a long-standing habit that bothers you, or prioritize your family events over his own leisure time. These aren't seen as burdens, but as investments. He is essentially negotiating with his own ego in winning. He understands that a lifelong partnership requires compromise, and he is ready to make those trade-offs because the reward, your partnership, is far more valuable. When a man starts making significant sacrifices without resentment, it is a definitive sign that he has committed his life to you. He is showing you through his actions that your happiness and the health of a union are now his highest priorities. 12. The consistent availability pivot. In the earlier stages of dating, there might have been a game of timing or maintaining an air of mystery. In this phase, that disappears entirely. He becomes consistently available to you. You never have to wonder when you'll hear from him or if he'll show up when you need him. He makes it a point to be reliable because he knows that trust is built through consistency. He integrates you into his daily routine so seamlessly that your communication becomes like breathing, natural and constant. He prioritizes your calls and texts, and he makes sure you know his schedule. This pivot to radical reliability is his way of proving that he is a stable foundation for your future. He wants you to feel a total sense of security, knowing that he is the one person in the world who will always be there, regardless of the circumstances. 13. The vulnerability threshold crossing. While Phase 2 was about guarded vulnerability, Phase 13 is about total transparency. He shares his deepest fears, his ugly truths, and his most guarded insecurities. He allows you to see him when he is weak, tired, or failing. This is the highest level of trust a man can give. He has reached a point where he realizes that for you to love him for life, you must know the full version of him, not just the best version. By crossing this threshold, he is essentially handing you the keys to his emotional well-being. He trusts that you won't use his weaknesses against him. This creates an unbreakable bond of intimacy that transcends physical attraction. He feels a massive sense of relief being fully known by you, and this creates a us against the world mentality. Once he has been this vulnerable with you, he cannot imagine being this way with anyone else, which effectively seals his loyalty to you for life. 14. The legacy visioning phase. In this phase, the man starts talking about the long game, years and decades into the future. He discusses what your lives will look like when you're old, the kind of home you'll build, the adventures you'll take, and the legacy you will leave behind together. This is a shift from short-term planning to eternity thinking. He sees you in his life until the very end. He might talk about how your future children, if that's part of the plan, would look, or how you'll spend your retirement. He is mentally mapping out the rest of his timeline with you as the co-protagonist. This visioning phase is his way of ensuring that your story has a cohesive and beautiful trajectory. He is no longer just hoping things work out. He is actively designing a life that ensures you stay by his side forever. 15. The absolute emotional surrender. The final phase is a state of total emotional surrender. He has moved past all the tests, the logic, and the fears. He simply knows that you are his person. This is characterized by a deep, quiet confidence in the relationship. He no longer feels the need to protect his heart from you because he has fully entrusted it to you. He is at peace. This surrender isn't about losing power. It's about finding the ultimate strength in love. He is fully committed, heart, mind, and soul. Every decision he makes from this point forward is filtered through the lens of your partnership. He views your success as his success and your happiness as his primary mission. He has reached the end of the hidden phases and has arrived at a place of permanent, unconditional devotion. He doesn't just want you for life. He has already decided that his life is you.